In the quiet outskirts of a small Oregon town, a 27-year-old mechanic named Jake worked alone in his weathered garage. He wasn't rich, and his shop didn't have fancy tools, but he was known for fixing what others gave up on. That afternoon, a sleek black SUV pulled up, coughing smoke. It was an odd sight against the rustic backdrop. Inside sat a woman in a designer suit, Clarissa Morgan, a 36-year-old tech billionaire, alongside her 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Jake approached without hesitation, his hands stained with oil, and offered help. He didn't care who she was. To him, she was just a customer. As Jake lifted the hood, he noticed Lily peering curiously from the back seat, her small frame strapped into a medical seat. Her legs seemed stiff, and she wore clunky orthopedic braces. "She's never walked," Clarissa admitted quietly when Jake asked. "We've tried everything. Specialists, surgeries, therapy. Nothing worked." Her voice cracked as she added, "She's 6, and I've almost stopped hoping." Jake nodded without pity, just understanding. He didn't speak much, but something in Lily's wide, observant eyes lingered with him. He fixed the SUV and watched them drive away slowly, the moment staying with him. That night, Jake sat alone in the garage long after closing time. The usual clinks and hums of metal were replaced by quiet focus. He spread out paper and started sketching something he hadn't built before, a walker. Not just any walker, but one shaped to Lily's height, posture, and gait challenges. Using scrap aluminum, bike cables, and car suspension parts, he crafted it piece by piece. He adjusted the wheels to move only slightly, allowing stability. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Something made not for profit, but for one little girl he couldn't stop thinking about. 3 days later, Clarissa returned to thank Jake for the car. Her face still wore a blend of exhaustion and wealth, the kind of expression that had seen too much. Disappointment. Jake didn't wait. He wheeled out the small silver frame and said, "I made this for her." Clarissa's eyes widened. "Let her try it," Jake added gently. With hesitation, Lily slid from the seat and grasped the handlebars. Her arms shook slightly. Clarissa rushed to steady her, but Jake stopped her. "Just wait," he whispered. With the walker steady, Lily moved her right foot, then her left, slowly, unsteadily, but she was walking. Clarissa covered her mouth, eyes brimming with disbelief. 1, 2, 3 small steps. Lily moved forward, as if she'd been waiting her whole life for someone to believe in her. Jake stood silently, hands tucked in his pockets, his heart pounding. As he watched the moment unfold, Clarissa sank to her knees, tears streaming freely as her daughter reached her. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. The garage, the grease, the silence. Everything became sacred. Jake simply wiped his hands and nodded, as if he'd only fixed another machine. But in truth, he'd built far more than that. Word spread faster than Jake expected. A local woman who'd pulled over for directions had witnessed Lily's first steps and captured the moment on video. Within hours, the clip made its way to social media. The image of a disabled girl taking steps toward her mother and the mechanic behind it touched millions. Comments poured in. News outlets reached out. Jake's phone buzzed non-stop, but he ignored most of it. When a reporter asked him for a quote, he said, "I didn't do it for views. I just wanted her to walk." That sincerity is what made the world listen even closer. Clarissa couldn't get the moment out of her head. The man who lived with so little had given her daughter something priceless. Sitting in her high-rise Los Angeles office, she stared at the footage again and again, Jake kneeling beside Lily, her daughter's smile stretching wider with every step. She flew back to Oregon and sat with Jake in his garage. "Let's build more," she said. "There are other kids like Lily who need this." Jake looked at her, stunned. "You serious?" Clarissa nodded. "I'll fund it, you build it, let's help them walk." Soon, the old garage transformed. Where oil cans once sat, there were now shelves of tools, designs, and lightweight aluminum frames. Clarissa brought in pediatric therapists and mobility experts, but it was Jake's raw intuition and hands-on skills that made the biggest difference. Children arrived from nearby towns, some in wheelchairs, others with braces. Parents watched in cautious hope. Time and again, Jake delivered. He listened, he adapted, he cared. His hands weren't just fixing machines anymore. They were building freedom. For every step a child took, the town's heart grew lighter. A few months later, Clarissa hosted a gala in Los Angeles to launch their non-profit Walk Bright Foundation. Attendees included tech moguls, media figures, and Hollywood stars. But when Clarissa took the stage, she didn't speak about funding or fame. She pointed to a large screen behind her, showing Jake and Lily mid-laugh in a grassy Oregon field. "That man changed my daughter's life," she said, voice trembling. He didn't have degrees or fame. He had stained denim, calloused hands, and a heart bigger than any fortune. The crowd rose in silence, then erupted in applause. Back in Oregon, life hadn't changed much for Jake. He still started his mornings with black coffee and wiped his hands with the same red shop towel. But now, laughter filled the workshop. Lily ran freely around the field behind it, the custom walker now abandoned in a corner. She didn't need it anymore. Other children smiled too, some walking, some trying. Jake knelt beside, each one adjusting straps, encouraging effort. And when asked what it felt like to change so many lives, Jake just shrugged. "They're the ones doing the walking. I'm just here to help them try."